what happens when the cost of development and the cost of delivering software will trend towards zero. And then when I say zero, it's not because Claude is not cheap. It's not because Claude is cheap or Anthropic's models are cheap. It's because there will be more powerful models that you'll be able to run locally, right? On my Mac Mini that OpenCloud runs on, for example, I have a Quinn model that is like it's a simple 7 billion parameter model. But guess what? Like, it's not the best model, but I have OpenCloud using that all night long for quote unquote research.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know what the hell it's doing, honestly. Okay. But it's like, I don't care. It can burn as many tokens. It's nighttime. It can burn as many tokens. So we're also reaching this world. Like, again, I'm doing this not at, not even nowhere near enterprise scale. What happens when that technology matures from my little Mac Mini to real hardware and real technology, real software, real engineering departments? It just becomes, like I think, again, we were talking with some CIOs yesterday. We won't mention who, but, their view was, no, in the future, I'm going to write as much software as myself. And they were kind of almost targeting the very, very big, expensive SaaS, platforms. But again, I think the point here is there's a level of flexibility that I don't think we've ever experienced up until now. And so I could just see where early stage, I could see where this thing is going to go. It's going to be kind of crazy.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of talking about the, SaaSpocalypse. And I think broad strokes, like that, so definitely some SaaS companies are going to, they're not do well in this climate because the problems that we're solving are easy enough to replace. I do think that the real nuance here and the distinction between companies that will succeed or not, SaaS companies that will succeed or not, is how deep is the problem that they're solving. So, like, for example, like not to mention any specific name. Well, you know what? Let's be a bit provocative. I think Monday is a good example of eventually it's an amazing task tracking software. It's one of the best products we've used, but it's not very deep problem to solve. So like, I want a place to write down my tasks, monitor them, track them. And it's definitely something that's becoming exponentially easier to do myself. And it's not even as if I'm going to be writing my own software, but Google or Microsoft might just give that Monday replacement for free to me as part of my G Suite or Office. So I think those companies are going to be in trouble. But then there's some companies that they're also SaaS companies, but the problem they're solving is very deep. And as AI gets better, the problem that they're solving also becomes harder, and they're forced to write even more software. And so, like, what happens is that they're still very valuable companies because the problem remains very hard. And at the end of the day, we pay companies to solve problems that are hard to solve. So, like, CrowdStrike, CrowdStrike is not becoming any easier to write myself because while AI is simplifying what it means to write CrowdStrike of 5 years ago, what we need from CrowdStrike today is still a hard problem. And so that remains just as hard. And I don't think CrowdStrike is at any risk of being replaced by something someone writes themselves in the enterprise. And same goes for algorithmic trading companies. It's still gonna be like you're gonna want to deploy as much code to write the best trading algorithm. So because you're competing with other companies, so that remains a very hard problem. So there's a lot of these examples.
So I think there's maybe you kind of made me think about two things here. One is there's an aspect of the network effect. So the network effect is related to CrowdStrike, since we're talking about them, is that the more deployments they have, the more sticky it is, or the more deeper, because now they have so much visibility, right? Monday, on the other extreme, is like Monday.com doesn't become better as more people are using it. Not in the same way, right? Like, you're going to get some lessons learned, you're going to get some telemetry, but you're not going to get the same level of the deeper this thing is deployed, the more powerful it is, and the harder it is for you to write that, because they're benefiting from this broad network, right? There's every endpoint sees more information. All of that information leads into it makes it a more valuable kind of product.
Right.
The same thing with the iPhone or whatever, like Facebook, whatever. Like there's almost like it's a numerical value. The more people in the network, the more valuable the whole thing becomes. I'm curious. about, because we're talking about two things, and every day I feel like you hear two different things. I'd love to get your opinion on this. One is because of cloud code, because of that, there's no more software engineering jobs, is on one hand, just to put it on an extreme position. The other extreme position, because of that flexibility, because every company can now customize, there'll be more engineering. Like, we're going to wake up one day and realize AI has allowed us to hire a lot more software developers versus we're going to just shrink and have very few software developers. Where are you on that spectrum?
I think it's, look, long term, like to just address it directly, long term, I think there are no software engineering jobs. I don't think I think in general, any job that can be done remotely over Slack or Zoom, that job, in my opinion, is within the next 2 years is going to be very hard to justify as models become better, more human-like, and kind of don't have those failure modes. That said, I think the reason what we're seeing in the short term, which is kind of to some people is surprising, I don't think it is surprising, is that we're actually hiring more developers, because in the short term, models have still very specific failure modes or drawbacks, and they do increase the leverage of developers a lot. And so, obviously what you're going to do is, as long as you have those drawbacks that are critical, you're going to want the people to do it. And because people are now more productive, you're going to be hiring more people. But the moment that those drawbacks are gone, I would expect we see like a very quick collapse in demand for that. And I think one example from like historical example I think is interesting is that, when cars became good, they replaced horses and carriages in roughly 10 years, which is so crazy, right? Because you had horses for thousands of years, right? And then cars appeared and replaced them almost instantly, like in 10 years. But that's actually not the full story. We had not so great cars for a few tens of years before, and they weren't replacing horses. And so what really happened was that we were starting to have cars. They were still not good enough. We weren't getting rid of horses. And then all at once, they became very good, and suddenly we got rid of all the horses. And I think that's kind of what we're going to expect. And unfortunately, this analogy, us software engineers are the horses. But I think that's roughly what's going to happen. And I just saw a meme, which is like it's like a farmer speaking with a horse and saying, "Don't worry, you won't be replaced by tractors. You will be replaced by horses that can use tractors." And I think that's kind of where we are in this state. So that said, what I'm not concerned about, so I'm not concerned about like mass unemployment. I think there's always going to be things where we fundamentally want people to be who's doing them. And like, even for example, like, it's a fun example, soccer. In theory, we could build robots that play much better soccer than people, but we just like watching people play soccer. So you have professional soccer, and you have yoga. In theory, maybe a robot can do the best yoga in the world, but we just there's some things we want people to be doing those things. And when you go to an omakase chef, and he's serving you this lovely piece of sushi, you want that to be a chef where he is trained for tens of years with the best chefs. So I think human labor is not gone. I think we're all like, there's not going to be mass unemployment or anything like that. But I do think like knowledge work is on its way out in every practical sense.